Hi, welcome to All Things Possible. We are excited to have you with us this week. We have an exciting title for you.
It is called The Simple Step That's Missing to Achieve Your Goals.
We're excited to share this with you. This is something that we've come up with on our own, and it's something that we have found very powerful and impactful in achieving your goals and having more success. We're thrilled to be able to share that with you. But before we jump into the meat of today's episode...
You should really go to our website. Where'd that come from?
I'm not sure where that came from. But join us at our website. We have gifts for you, we have information, and we'll be sharing a couple of handouts, some visuals for you that you can get on our website. So go to allthingspossible.biz. That's allthingspossible.biz. And join our community. If you haven't joined our community, we would love to have you join us. We have a newsletter every week, which is actually information. You get the video, you get the blog, the information, the articles that we write, and we're constantly giving things to you.
There is a ton of self-improvement information, of healing information. It's really valuable. You should go and become part of the community. We'd love to have you join us.
Yeah, so join us at All Things Possible. But for this week, we want to jump right into here and really talk about, for just a few minutes, this missing link, this missing step that you need to have.
But first off, let's go over just the normal steps that we typically go through. And every one of those are essential. I don't want to say that you should skip any one of those steps. They're great, but let's just review them really quickly. First of all, you've got to decide and define what your goal is. The more clear you can define it, the more clearly you can work towards that goal. If you just say, I want more good stuff in my life, that's a pretty hard goal to achieve because you don't know what to do to make it happen.
Exactly. And until you decide, it's not a goal, it's a wish. Until you decide and have action steps, you write it down and take those steps necessary to actually have it be a goal and to move to the next level.
Yeah, and absolutely another thing that really makes it more powerful, and you know this already, I know you do, and that is to put it on a vision board on a wall. Put a picture of your goal. Put a picture, or put words, a piece of paper describing what it is you want.
The visual and the words.
Both of them work on different parts of the brain, and it gets everything on the same board that was creating it. You know this stuff. There's daily action steps to take. You should do something when you have a goal every day towards that goal. Instead of having an abstract idea that I want this to happen, take a step every way. That a journey begins with a step, right? And if all you do is say, I want to go to New York, and you never take the first step, you're never going to get there.
Right, and you need to speak it out loud. You need to be able to do declarations or affirmations, whatever works for you. You need to have that positive input on a regular basis. It's got to be a daily basis. And these are simple things that you can get from any goal setting that you look up. Look it up on the internet. Find out these steps. You'll know these.
But here's a step that with the work that we do so much with energy, that we found is vital. And most people skip over this. People refer to it a little bit, but I don't believe you understand the intensity, the power of your emotional intensity. So, Kris, why don't you share with them a little bit about the emotional spiral?
Your first little handout to see.
Okay. And so you can click on the website and be able to pull up this picture and print one out for yourself.
So on the emotional spiral, we have been teaching this for 4 years.
You want me to hold it up and you talk?
And on the emotional spiral, at the top we have the positive emotions, and as we go down the spiral, we start into the negative emotions. There's a middle center line where you really change from a positive emotion to a negative emotion. And what happens is when we start down into this negative spiral, we get into the spiral and we go deeper and deeper. And you hear all the time that you have to hit rock bottom.
It's like a cherry in a toilet bowl. You'll start spinning faster and faster, pretty soon it sucks you down the drain.
Right. And the same thing for the positive. As you stay into the positive mentality, you have accomplishment energy, you have all these things going for you. You're doing declarations, you're doing goals, you're moving towards what you want to achieve. You stay into the positive, and as you go up that spiral, more and more positive comes into your life. You have more abundance, you have more freedom, you have all of these wonderful emotions that start happening for you. Really, they start falling into place, and everything shifts. So the emotional spiral is very powerful, and all of us have it. All of us have emotions in us. And we're going to have positive ones and we're going to go into negative ones. And we have to learn how to stay in the positive, how to recognize when we're going into the negative. And we have some really good pieces to add to that.
Yes, I'd like to just share, though, as you can see here, right in the middle here, there is a center line there where it flips from negative to positive. As you go further away from that center line, it gets stronger. So if you print this out, notice what emotions are stronger, and then notice what you're feeling. Become aware of it. And so now, as Kris said, we want to add some extra pieces to it so you can go, yeah, I get it. At least for me, I'm simple. I like to put things simple so even I can understand them.
Right,
Kris,
but first, before I share that, I want you to share your story about the recent client that you had.
So yes, that's a perfect time to do this now. I was recently, got done with a healing session. A lot of times we blend mentoring in and out, whatever intuition tells us to work on. And as I was working with this client and talking to her, I said, by the way, what about your goals? What goal are you working on right now? And she says, well, we are working in our family, with me and my husband, are working to create an online sales business. And I just waited to see what she would say next. And she says, but I really worry
worries in the negative, in case you were wondering.
that we're wasting our time and energy and that it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, she had a goal. She had a direction. What emotion did she put behind it? Worry. So it's just like, slam on the brakes. It kills all the energy. How much of the time when you have a goal are you stressed about it? You worry that you won't achieve it, that you'll fail like you did the last time. Whatever your stories are that's going on in your head, how much of the time do you spend with emotional negative energy when you're trying to get a goal, and then you wonder why you don't get your goal?
Did you hear how passionate he was about that?
I'm passionate about this. It's just like, yeah, come on, pay attention to your emotions. That's power. And here, Kris is going to make it simple so that we can all understand it.
Well, simple to a point. As I show you this graphic, it looks a little confusing. So I want to go over this just a little bit.
Okay, the first thing you need to understand is we turned the spiral sideways.
Yes, we turned the spiral sideways because you have the positive emotions are over here and the negative are over here. And as I'm videoing this and it's opposite, I might be pointing in the wrong place.
Like the weatherman, you got to learn to do that.
Yeah, I got to learn how to do that now.
But does this look like your car? You got a steering wheel? You got a brake pedal?
We are going to be comparing this to driving a car. I want you to think about the steering wheel. And I want you to hold on to that steering wheel and envision in front of you what your goal is. Where are you headed? What do you want?
You got McDonald's or Taco Bell? Where do you want to go?
Or organic, all healthy.
Or the farmer's market, straight ahead.
You have to know where you're going. And so that is knowing the goal, and then our thoughts and our words and equal our direction. So if we are wanting our goal and we're like, oh, I want fast food and I want to eat unhealthy, we're headed right to McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
But if we want to stay the course, we have to control those thoughts, control those things that are getting us to go the other way. The words we speak, the words and the thoughts that are going through our head, the things that we have going on are controlling how we are steering to that goal.
So driving your goal car is a mathematical equation. Your goals plus your thoughts plus your words equals the direction you're driving your goal car. Okay?
The direction that you're going to be going. So if you want to be getting there to your goal faster, or you want to be getting there quicker, you've got to have all of these in alignment. Now let's talk about what else is in a car. We have a gas pedal and we have a brake.
We got the fat one and the skinny one.
The gas pedal is in our positive emotions. As we have positive emotions and we move forward and that we go farther in that upper spiral, or in this case, the positive spiral, which is over here. As we do that, we give more gas to the car, which makes us go faster, right? So if we have more positive going on in our life, more staying in this spiral, and if you want me to turn it back here, into those emotions that are in this upper part. You know, we are in trust, we're worthy, we're empowered, right? We have freedom. We want to achieve these goals. We have knowledge. We have all of these things behind us. Compassion, radiant, empathy, forgiveness, right? We are pushing forward in the positive goals. And as we add the gas to that, the more positive we have, the faster we go. When you drive a car and you just barely put a little bit on the gas pedal, you don't go very fast.
And if you come up to a little curb or a bump in the road, if you're not putting any pressure on the gas, your car will roll up to it and stop. Okay? And you go, wait a minute, you naturally know to push more power on the gas. Now let's go to the brake pedal. Obviously, as she's explained the accelerator, the brake is the exact opposite. So how often do you find yourself, and be honest, doing just what this friend of mine did in our session the other day? Well, my goal is to blank, 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 but. And that but, if you say but, you're all going south. You're going to the negative, okay? But I worry.
We're headed into the negative.
So she steered her car towards her goal.
Right?
Yeah. She was steering her car towards her goal of creating this online business. She was taking a lot of steps. She was doing a lot of the right things. But she had her foot firmly pressed upon the
brake.
Fat pedal. The negative
brake
side, because of her emotions. Your emotional intensity. Let's look at this formula on the bottom right here. How fast will you get there? So you turn your wheel, and if you never step on the gas, you're not going to move the car. If you hold your foot on the brake, you're not going to move the car. So how fast do you want to get there? Another mathematical equation. Your emotion plus the intensity is equal to the pressure that you put on the pedal. So here's what I see. And Kris, we've talked about this. She does a lot more mentoring than I do in this realm.
Coaching, trainings, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And there's a lot of us putting pressure on the brake pedal without even realizing it.
We don't realize it. We spend all of our time stressing. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to get my goal in time. Stress is a negative emotion. Oh my gosh, it's not going to work. Oh my gosh, I'm going to fail. Listen to all that self-chatter that goes on, and realize you're trying to get somewhere by holding your foot on the brake.
And even if this isn't a personal level, if this is your team at work and they're not making the goal, they're not crunching the numbers, they're not selling the product, as much product as you need to push out, what is it that's pushing on that brake? Is it complications with communication? What's holding you back? What's stopping you from progressing? Because it's probably the negative emotions, the conflict that's creating you putting pressure on the brake pedal, which is slowing you down or stopping you completely.
Now, people are becoming much more. How many muches was that? That's a lot of them.
That's a lot of muches.
Yeah, muchly aware of how important it is to have positive and negative emotions. And so stay away from the positive, stay away from the positive. So you may even be staying away from the negative,
like,
is what I want to say. That was a check to see if you're paying attention, okay? I was checking. Thanks for paying attention. Okay, so we know to stay away from the negative, stay away from the negative. And notice when you feel something negative about your goal, notice the intensity. There's a lot of emotion there. You really believe it. You're putting a lot of energy in that. So we get into this mindset, no negative, it's all going to be positive. And so you say, okay, well, it'll be so nice when I can have my goal. There's no intensity there. And that's where we stop. We tend to just stop at getting rid of the negative sometimes, and we don't put any passion and any pressure into the positive. And that's where you sit down and you visualize. Your imagination is so important to your goal achievement, to imagine what it's going to be like when you get your goal. So we don't want to take a lot of time today. We're going to 2 stories. Let me just share with you a few years ago. I mean, look at me. You can tell I'm a runner, right? A few years ago, I set a goal to run a 26-mile marathon. And I did that. And it was tough and a lot of work. But I'll tell you one thing that I did early on when I first started getting my out-of-shape body on a treadmill and trying to develop the strength and the endurance to start to go out running. As I kept visualizing and imagining, as I was running, I would visualize and play this scene over and over in my mind of me coming to the end of that finish line at the marathon. and seeing my wife and my 3 sons and my daughter there, and I would just get so excited because I could just imagine them being so proud of me. I mean, this is the first time I've been able to tell this without even tearing up, because the emotional was so powerful. It meant so much to me that my children could see and respect me and say, if Dad can do that, what can I do? At 48 years old, if Dad can all at once get up off the couch and decide he's going to run a marathon inside of a year, is there anything I cannot do? And it was so important to me to instill that lesson in my children. Of course, I was doing it for myself, for my own goals. But I imagined what fueled my dreams, my passion, was imagining what it was going to be like. It was that scene of crossing the finish line, having my children go, yeah, Dad, you're the most awesome guy in the world. You know, and all the other dads running was feel bad because I was the only one, right? But it powered me. It kept me going when it was 100 degrees and I was out exercising. It kept me going when it was below freezing and I was jogging in the snow. It kept me going when I didn't feel like getting up in the morning and exercise and train for this marathon. Because I had that emotional intensity, that vision of what it was going to feel like and smell like, and incorporate all the senses, and taste like,
taste it, smell it,
see the victory. Okay, I incorporated all my senses into creating to where it was like a real memory that had already happened, and that's what got me through. Kris, tell them about our adoption that we went through, and what that was like for you, setting a goal there.
Yeah, another goal, which I don't know how you say. Well, our goal was to adopt a child. At 24, I had a hysterectomy, 3 boys, we were done, and there was no way we could have a child. And I knew our family wasn't complete. I knew that there was a daughter out there for us, and it became this really big thing for me and for our family. And as we started down this path, you can imagine the roller coaster of emotions. There's the negative emotions, there's the positive emotions, this full hysterectomy. I'm 24 years old, so I'm super young. And I have this roller coaster of, you know, emotions personally, just all of the hormones and all those things. But I also have this whole, I feel like we're supposed to have this and it's supposed to happen. And we got really close a couple of times and it didn't come through. And to feel that high and low, and to feel the pressure that as soon as I got in overwhelm, as soon as I got into worry, as soon as I got frustration, it was brakes all the way. And when we actually found our daughter, and I met the birth mother, and she was barely pregnant. Everything started to just fall into place, and the more that I envisioned it happening, the more I could touch it, feel it, smell it, hear it, the more that I could just visualize what was happening, and then put tons of positive emotions around that, and take action steps, do the things that I could do to achieve this goal. We painted the room pink, we did all these things, but we also focused on the complete part of staying in the positive and staying out of the negative. This took 5 years. And
a lot of doubt. I mean, there's a lot of doubt. You know, the birth mother can change her mind at any time. We'd been through the process with a handful of others.
2 really close.
and got very close and had it come apart at the end, and don't feel like you've got a lot of control. It takes a lot of energy and intensity to stay in the positive. But there's a lot of power behind your emotional intensity. Again, there's a lot of power by putting a little bit of pressure on the gas. You can make big things happen.
Well, and when we stayed in that intensity, when we went to those positive emotions, so as I drove that car and I visualized what our family was going to be like and what this looked like, because we weren't just trying to adopt a child, we were trying to find our daughter. And there was a whole spiritual component to that. There was the whole emotional component. And all of us knew there were pieces that happened that were just like, this has to be what's going on.
A little bit of clarity there, just with our personal spirituality or belief system, is families are very important to us, and we don't believe they happen by accident. And we felt inspired that there was a specific spirit that needed to be in our family, this little girl. Not just any little girl, but a very specific individual. And I can tell you that there were a lot of angels involved in helping to make that happen. And
there was a lot of things that came into play.
And so that, when we talk about a specific little girl, I just want to clarify what that was.
Right. Well, and it wasn't just push on the gas and be like, no matter what, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I mean, we had to be able to focus on exactly what that goal was, exactly what it was. We had to have our thoughts, our words. So it was goals, thoughts, words to equal the direction that we were going. And we also had to use our emotion and intensity for the pressure on the pedal. We had to keep it all in alignment. And as it happened, we had to trust the process, and trust. Trust is one of the highest ones. Integrity is one of the highest ones. We had to get into that unconditional love in the highest part of the emotional spiral and stay there and just trust that it would happen. And as we did that, the more we did that, it all fell into place.
You know, and there was action steps, obviously. I don't want to say that we skipped all those other steps. I mean, we started talking to everybody we knew. If you ever hear of somebody that's putting up a child for adoption, we talked to lawyers. We went to family services centers of all different
put our money where our mouth
varieties.
Is, right?
We talked to attorneys. We took all the action steps, but that's not what this is about.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
understand.
we did the family.
We did the regular parts of goal setting.
Everything that you have to do for adoption. Like, we did everything with a couple different agencies and with a lot. We ended up going private, and we had attorneys on board. We did all those action steps, but as we were doing those, we had to be really careful to stay into the positive emotions, because it's
That's
easy.
where it comes apart.
Easy to push on the brake with the negative. It was really easy to be like, this hasn't happened before, and it's happened twice, and we got so close, and we, you know, to the hospital.
You get caught up in your stories. You know?
And it was just so tough to know that. And now as we look back and go, oh my goodness, we were doing the gas and the pedal, the gas and the brake pedal, and not even realizing what we had been doing. And as we looked back on that and said, we had to just continually pushing towards the gas, staying in the positive, finding clarity and getting to our goal. And we did. We adopted our daughter 23 years ago and completed our family. It was amazing.
And I'll bet if you look back at the goals that were not easy for you to achieve, but the goals that you have achieved, I'll bet if you look back, you'll find a common component. The difference between the ones you achieved and the ones you didn't is because you could feel beforehand, you experienced beforehand the feelings of what it would feel like as if you had already accomplished your goal. And that's our key. That's the ingredient there. We're doing everything else. You're doing everything else great. Now get some emotional intensity by it and go out and get your goals. I want to see you get your goals. Tell us about it.
Sorry, we have a cat that's going around. Gonna jump up here.
She just threw a piece of tape at the cat. That's awesome.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a part of us. We're outside. We love being outdoors and in nature. And I'm barefoot in the grass, totally grounding. It's awesome.
I'm wearing shoes so I look taller.
We love having you with us. We would love for you to implement this into your life and change the way you're accomplishing your goals. Push that gas pedal, get there faster, and have the success that you want.
Great. But what she said.
Thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
Join us next time here on All Things Possible. Bye-bye.
All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.